Scott. I want to go ahead and quickly touch on the whole idea of how do you figure out how much a kid weighs. And especially in children, remember this is a huge deal. Especially if you're ALS or on the hospital side, whereas everything is something per kilo. Until we can go ahead and get a weight, we're kind of lost because we can't do squat until we figure out how much the kid weighs. Now, if they're awake and talking and able to go ahead and stand on a scale, great. The problem is if they're too sick to stand on a scale, we actually need to figure out relatively quickly how much more guess does this kid weigh. And a couple ways you can do that. The first of which is if you take your PD wheel. Remember, if you take your PD wheel and you simply dial in the age of the kid in the top box, it will tell you that a 1-year-old kid ought to weigh 10 kilos. Option number 2, if you use a Broslow tape, again, always putting red to the head. If you measure a 1-year-old kid, you'll find that chances are they're going to be a purple. And if you look at the purple part of the Broslow tape on one side on the bottom, that's important. Because remember, on the Broslow tape, you've always got the color name up top, but you only have weights on one side on the bottom. So if you're looking for the weight and you can't see it on one side, flip it over, I guarantee it's on the other. So in this case, if you go red ahead, you see this kid is a purple, you see that a purple 1-year-old weighs 10 to 11 kilos. Other option number 3 is if you play with Tevy. And whether it's the app or the book, remember that it'll tell you you have a 1-year-old who's purple, exactly like Broslow. But on the app or the book, important to remember up here in the corner, that where it says 1-year-old purple, it also says 10 kilos ideal body weight. So that, outside of the scale, is 3 different ways to figure out a weight in a really sick kid. However, there's one other really neat way that was taught years ago by Dr. Peter Tevy, the PCR doc who created this Tevy system. And this really, honestly, I use on a very regular basis. And that's the whole idea of using your hands to go ahead and figure out how much the kid weighs. And the way that he teaches it is simply starting with your fingers. You just go by age and you go 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So that's the age of the kid. Then you simply take your weights and you just go 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So that way, if you've got cheat sheets, great, use them. If all else fails and you just want to get a rough idea, more guess, what should a 7-year-old actually weigh? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 10, 15, 20, 25. A 7-year-old, more guess, in a pinch, ought to weigh about 25 kilos. So if you've got cheat sheets, absolutely great, feel free to use them. Or in a pinch, go ahead, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Does a great job of getting you more or guess in the right spot as to the weight of the kid.